a dope podcast to bring light to reality from real life people sharing real life stories with a host of women having real life talk, the good and the bad, with no judgment. Uncommon Women's Loyalty is here to support those that need a safe space to speak their truth and rawness to the world. Tune in, relax, take notes, and let's vibe. Here are your hosts, Uncommon Women.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in to Uncommon Women. As you know, I am your host, and today I am super excited about the guest speaker that we're going to have on the show today. She's such an inspiration. Today, she's going to be joining us talking about her stepping out of her comfort zone and into finding herself and being her true self in the reality of Aries. So, how you doing, girl?
Hey girl, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Did you have a good day today? Was it pretty busy, laid back?
It's I have always busy days, always, always, always. But it's a good thing. I'm blessed to be so busy, honestly. Like I like being busy.
Okay. So it's a productive busy, but in a blessing way.
Yes. Yeah,
I
I was
love
getting
it. I love
getting
it.
chicken ready, girl. Getting chicken ready.
Before we get into your story, because I'm super excited, I had talked to you briefly before we even got into scheduling the podcast, and let me tell you, you like blew me away. I was like, "Yo, this girl is so dope. I can't wait to see her in person. Like she's my best friend before she even know it." And it was just an inspiration to see like and hear your authentic self. So before we get into your journey, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how was your life growing up?
Sure. So again, my name is Aries Franklin Ortiz, aka the Poet Smiley. Growing up, I had a great life, honestly. Outside of Catholic school, I have great parents, loving parents, great brothers. I've always been surrounded by a lot of love in my family, which I'm very blessed to say that I had. Um, School though was another story. I went to a Catholic school. I was like one of like four black kids in the entire school, probably the only mixed kid in the school.
Okay.
And I didn't like it at all. It was not me. It really felt like I felt like the cage bird, and I understand why Maya Angelou made that book because I didn't get to express myself. I didn't get to really be myself. I was always forced into this box. I didn't really like to talk. I didn't really like to do much because I wasn't surrounded by anything that I really knew. But my parents kept me busy. So outside of that, I did sports. Again, I had a loving family. I did everything outside of that, but school like drove me crazy.
Okay. So may I ask what is your nationality?
I am black and Puerto Rican,
Okay, both sides, best of
both
both worlds.
sides.
Can you take a step down memory lane and just give us like just a brief surface of how it is in Catholic school being different from everyone else? Because as parents, we look at it as we want our children to have the best education, you know. But can you give us your viewpoint in regards to what you went through in Catholic school?
Okay, it was
Just a
terrible,
little
but
bit, because I'm sure it was a lot.
no, it was okay. So education wise, Catholic school is absolutely incredible. Like I had premium education. Like there was things when I did transition over to public school, there was things that I was learning in probably like fourth or fifth grade that they were teaching me in ninth. And so I
Okay.
that aspect of it was awesome. But everything else, no, like you can't really be your creative self in Catholic school. And if you are any type of different, they're not trying to hear that. It's more like uniform why they wear the uniform, stand in
Right.
line, sit, kneel, stand, sit, kneel, stand. That is, it's very strict. And anything that comes off of that line, they see it as like you're against God. And it's like they use God as a form of a weapon as opposed to something that you're supposed to glorify and praise. And I think that's why a lot of people, when if they have bad experiences in Catholic school, they go on to not be very active in faith because they use God as a weapon. I can remember as early as first grade the teacher telling me, if you get a tattoo you're going to hell. I'm like, I'm five, like 5 or 6 years old, and you're telling me I'm going to, and then I'm like, well, like my mom has a tattoo. And she's like, well, I guess you know where your mom's going. And I was like, I will flip this whole entire school over my mom. Like you got
Wow.
me. So like those types of little experiences made it really rough because I felt like I was always in a clamshell. I felt like I couldn't express myself. Um, it was that was traumatic. But everything else, again, childhood was great.
Okay, okay. So let's tap into where you said that you felt like you couldn't express yourself. What was the turning point in your life when you realized you were living for comfort instead of, really being you?
So it started in high school. Because once
Oh, I think we lost him. There we go.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm on
Technology,
do not
girl. You're
disturb,
good.
and my family still is like, I'm gonna call you 7 times until you answer this phone. Um, once I got out of Catholic school, I transitioned into public school, and
Okay.
there I was able to see kids that were actually like free, like they had no limitations to them. They just were fluid in everything that they did, whether it be good or bad. So like I was like, oh wow, like it's okay to
To be
be different. You know what I mean? But I still was kind of shelled into being who I was for 8 years. You know what I mean? So like
Mhm.
transitioning into being openly with yourself with anything that I do, um, it was that it took time over that. I really became somebody when I got to college. When
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'm free to do what I want. I'm free to be who I am. I'm free to dress how I want to. I can do whatever I want here. And I met so many amazing people that were just like, just do it, girl. Like, what are you holding back for? And it almost was like a scary transition, but once I did it, it was amazing.
Okay. Okay. Do you feel like you weren't able to be yourself when you were younger until you were able to get into college to be like, this is who Aries is and this is who I am and it's okay to love the person that I am?
Somewhat. So like when I was playing sports, I was like who I was. Like I loved basketball, I loved softball. I might not have been the best at it, but I liked it. But I at the same time, I was very still under like strict, not too much strict in my household. I was just like my brain was in that
The
strict
mindset.
mode all the time. So like
Mm,
I did not I felt like everything that I wanted to do would be straying me away from my faith because again, they were using faith as a form of like punishment almost. Like you can't do that, you're going to go to hell. You can't do this, you're going to go to hell. So like everything that I wanted to do, I felt like if I did it, it was going against everything that I was taught. You know what I mean? And I
mhm.
was so terrified of ending up in this place eternally that like I was just like I'm not going to risk it. But as time progressed and I realized like man, I'm loved for who I am, like really, like. And then I have a very loving family who were just like we love you could if you wanted to play with goats for the rest of your life, we're gonna love you. Like, like it was like this it was an awakening, and it felt
Mm.
so good.
I love that. I love that. I can't even imagine, the mental hardship that plays on a child where it's like if you do anything wrong, you're going to hell.
Right.
And I'm really big on having a relationship with God, building
Hmm.
that relationship with God and just knowing who you are and knowing how he loves you more than, these statistics of, we ain't gonna get into that, girl.
Right, right, right.
But how were you able to navigate the internal and external challenges of accepting yourself?
So it was very hard. Externally, I would smile. Like I would not necessarily tell people anything was bothering me, especially internally. Like I was super sad, super depressed because I just was not living my truth. And it caused me to kind of like spurts of anger because like I'm now I'm angry because this isn't who I am. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking, I'm nice, I'm polite, and I have to do this and I have to act this way. But really like I don't want to.
Mhm.
And so like it caused this like huge conflict because I had to, but realistically, I'm like, I need to get the hell out of here, like ASAP,
Yeah.
inside of my mind. So that internal and external battle was constant for a long time. And then one day, I did something that people might see as like corny, but realistically it worked for me. Is I looked myself in the mirror and I was like, I don't know who you are. Like,
Wow.
I don't recognize my image in the mirror. Like, I know that's what I look like, but really, who am I? And it was like one of those things where I had to like sit with myself, and I still had my relationship with God, how I knew it,
Mm-hmm.
and I prayed on it. And then I don't know what God, my awakening in that moment, whatever it was, led me to grab a notebook and just start to write everything.
Wow.
And it didn't start off poetry, but it ended poetically. And that's what led me to where I am, because then as I released it, I can smile, but my smile seemed more genuine. I was
At
walking a little
peace.
bit better.
It
I
was
was
the peace.
happy. Yeah. So it was a lot different then. So that's how I balanced both, honestly.
I love that. I love that. Do you feel as though like it was a weight that was lifted off of you once you started writing before you came into the transition of being a poet?
Girl, it was like the world came off my shoulders. Like you like there's so many you know, again, you're like brainwashed into thinking like you can't do this, you can't do that, to just
Mm-hmm.
release. And that can go for anything, for anybody. Like writing was my release for any, it could be something completely different for somebody else. But for me, when I was able to just write how I felt like it's almost like you have a book bag on, you have all your school books on, and that moment you're just
Mm.
like, oh, thank God, like all that's off my back. That's what it felt like.
What fears did you actually have, that kept you from living freely besides like, what you went through in Catholic school? Was there anything else that was just hindering you? Obviously your thoughts, our thoughts play a big role into um, our transitions at any time. But was there anything else that just kept you in fear?
Acceptance, acceptance of my community, acceptance of my family, acceptance of my brothers. Just I just did not want to be outcasted any more than I had already put myself, because I was never in my family and my community, I was never outcasted. I
Okay.
outcasted myself because I was battling with myself. But my biggest fear is that I would show them who I really was, and everybody would be like, nah. Like, we don't want nothing to do with that. And so like I kept that all in, because I was just like, I don't want to lose my mom, I don't want to lose my dad, I don't
Aw.
want to lose my brothers, because they are the closest people to me. So that was my biggest fear.
Do you remember the day or the first person you told you're transitioning when you were coming out, and how was that? Because I'm sure you're probably like, I don't know how this is gonna be, but I just know it has to happen. Like, can you explain or
That
express
was
maybe what people are going through that feel like they can't be their self, and just tell their family like, hey, this is who I
so it's this is kind of funny, but
am. Okay.
there was a couple of us.
Because they probably already knew.
And yeah, so like it just so happened, I was playing basketball, and I'm sitting in the back of, like, we were traveling back and forth to Philadelphia, and I was
Okay.
sitting in the back of this van with a couple of the girls. We were in like all separate cars. And this one girl is kind of like me, like she's just like, you can tell that something's wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
we started talking, and like I accidentally said like I have a crush on her. And so she was like, "Did you just say her?" Like she was investigating. And I was like, "Oh," like I let it out. But at this point it was too late. I was like, "Yeah."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, like I do. I like women too. And she was like, "Girl, me too." And so like we had this whole thing where we're just sitting there and we're just talking about it. And I remember like she was crying. I was just like, this is just what it is. Like, but it felt good to like tell somebody like this is what I like, and this is how I've been moving secretly for a long time. And she was like, me too. And so me and her actually ended up telling both of our parents. Like I told my parents, and she was literally outside the door waiting to make sure I was okay, and it went
Not you saying that. You gotta tell a person.
right. Um, And then a couple of days later, she went to tell her mom, and I was with her, and her mom was
Oh.
like, "Girl, I've been through this." Like, it was so funny. Like, it was that was my experience. Like, me and her just kind of told each other on accident by on purpose.
Mm-hmm. Moms have intuitions though. Like
Right,
they be knowing, they just be waiting for you. Like, girl, we've
right.
been new. Like and
Like, you've
and
been
I
fighting me
just
about
love that
skirts for
we're
8 years.
that part, that part. Besides, your mom, like, what how did your identity impact your relationship with your family, friends, and the community? Like, was it a negative impact, or was it just something where it's like, I can be myself and it's okay and it didn't bother anybody?
Yeah, I mean, with my family, they were like, "We love you." Like,
Yeah.
what does it matter? You know what I mean? Now, I will tell you, they did warn me. They were like, "Listen, you're biracial."
Hmm.
Black and Spanish at the time.
Uh-huh.
It's not like ideal to, for other people. And
Right.
now you're queer. So you have an uphill battle for you.
Double.
Yeah, it's not always gonna be easy. Now they did warn me.
Okay.
Um, but they never stopped loving me.
I
And they
love
didn't
that.
treat me any different. Now the community, there are some people that were just like, "You're staying clear away from my kid." And there was some
Mhm.
people who I inspired. And when they were open about who they were, mind you, they just came to me and told me. It was no influence of me. I didn't say anything to them. I didn't hang out with them. They just told me seeing me made them comfortable with who they were. Their parents still blamed me. And I was just like,
Wow.
you win some, you lose some. But
Hmm.
majority of the community and my family, they were very accepting of it, and they appreciated that I was walking in my truth. They appreciated me more for telling them who I was as opposed to hiding it and being angry all the time. So
Mm, mm, mm.
so it wasn't bad. It was good for the most
Because
part.
you have a loving family, so that's really good. Do you
Yeah.
feel like, or maybe you can give some advice on this. How would someone that's going through, you know, what you went through in the beginning express that to a family that isn't loving? Like, how do they still love their self and know, like, this is who I am, I'm queer, but it they're getting like they're not getting the love that they want to receive from their family. How do they move on from that? Or can you give advice on how they can be able to transition to still love themselves and, not live this fake facade of trying to be, trying to, get approval from their family when they know that's not who they are? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the quote goes, blood doesn't make you family. And that is very, very, very true. Like, blood does not make you family. The people that
Mhm.
love you are family. And that's what you need to surround yourself with, because we're here for a short, fun time, not a long one.
Right.
And if you walk every day trying to be accepted by people that just aren't going to accept you, you're missing so much. Just surround yourself with people that love you. You can love somebody from a distance.
Mm.
And you can absolutely love your family from a distance despite them not accepting you. I love you anyway, but I can't be around you because you're not going to make me, stumble off my journey and put me on
Right.
the wrong path because I'm constantly bickering back and forth with you. I rather surround myself with these people that love me for who I am, no matter what I do. They love me and they'll tell me about myself if I'm wrong, and they'll love me if I'm right. You know what I mean? But they're
Mhm.
not going to judge me either. I love you from there, all
Mhm.
the way over there. but I'm gonna surround myself with these people. So I always tell people, surround yourself with people that love you genuinely.
Yes.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, that's your family. And eventually, hopefully, prayerfully, your family comes around and loves you for who you are too. And if they don't, you still have love over here. You know what I mean? It's hard, but you still have this love. You know what I mean? You still have people that are willing to sacrifice everything to make sure that you're happy. And that's what's more important than anything.
I love that. T clacky. Ain't they what to say? Clacky.
That new generation, I got you.
Yes, yes, yes. So I love that. So you're on this self-love journey and acceptance of, liking yourself. What does it look like on the other side of that decision?
What do you mean?
Like, okay, so now everyone knows, like, this is who you are. This is just a part of your personality, but you're
Right.
still the same person, and you're able to have that weight off your shoulder. How does it feel, loving your true authentic self and being
Oh,
accepted in who you are?
girl, you walk a little different after you can be yourself. Like it gives you a different level of confidence. And that's not cockiness in any way. It's okay to be confident with yourself. Like I walked with my chest puffed out, my shoulders back, my face up because now I can walk with who I am and nobody as long as my family loved me or the people that I consider my family loved me, nobody could tell me no different. So
Yes.
you're not gonna knock me off my high horse. I'm cute. I smile a lot. I got cute hair. I'm gonna walk around like this all day long. And that's how I felt. I felt like I could walk down the street with my shoulders back and just kind of feel relaxed. I was more easygoing. I was more social with people. I could interact with people a lot better because now it wasn't something that could accidentally slip out. If it happened, it happened. And if you didn't like it, you have the option to walk away. You know what I mean? So like it felt like I was authentic for once. I felt like myself for once.
Yes.
And when when you walk not feeling like yourself, when you're constantly battling who you are and you're just like looking at yourself again, you're looking at yourself in your mirror and like who is this? Who's this person that that's looking back at me? Now when I look in the mirror, I'm like, what's up, girl? How you doing? It's a good day today. You know what I mean? Like I'm confident with that because I can be who I am and not feel judged by anybody. And even if they do judge me, I
Mm,
don't care. Go ahead. Like you explain that to God. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
I love that. Yes, yes, yes. Are you able to maybe like how do you feel like your story has inspired teens, and like what can they do if they're struggling in the fear of identity? You did express like writing was your therapy, and now transitioning to poetry, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But what is some tools or steps that you can give someone that's struggling with the fear of identity, even if they're not queer, just identity period?
Um, so most people have that one person that they can talk to, and they need to talk to them because more than likely you think they're going to judge you, but that's the person that loves you the most. And
Mm,
they already see it. They're just waiting for you to say it. I would definitely tell teens to find someone that they trust, that they know is just on their side and talk to them. You know what I mean? Whether it be a teacher or a friend, you know what I mean? Or if they find an organization that they like, try doing things that they like to do because when you volunteer or you play sports or you do things that you like to do in the community, people tend to not even care anything else that comes with that. As long as you're a good person, you treat people well, you can say that you're a flying fish. They don't care. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, hey, yeah, I identify as a fish. Okay, what's up, fishy? Like they don't care because you're a good person. You have a good heart. That's what people are into now. We're here for a short time, not a long one. We do not have time to be judging each other based off of skin color and
yes,
everything. Like, oh, you want to shave all your hair off? That's fine. Who cares? It's not. It's their person. That person's hair does not matter to me. You know what I mean? As long as they treat me good, I'm cool with that. So find people that are cool with you just being who you are. And once you find that circle or that one person, because it only takes one for you to find the rest of your circle, you're going to feel free. And sometimes you have to, step outside your comfort zone too to find that person. And once they do that, they're good to go.
you know what I've noticed, being a millennial, like, and this is transparency right here. We always be like, "Oh, them Gen Zs, they go so lost in the world, and they got so much going on." But one thing I can say is they do speak their mind. They very
What?
freely.
I love this new generation.
And
Oh my
it's just
gosh,
like we couldn't dare say, some of the stuff that, because I don't know if it was just a thing that was passed down from our generations, like, girl, that stays in the house. We don't do none of that. But it's like Gen Zs, they're able to be their self, they're able to speak their mind, they're able to
what?
say what's on their mind, no
And they
filters,
don't play that. They don't
and
play
they
that
don't
at all.
play it.
And I'm all for that. Like there's levels to it, of course. Now sometimes they
Mhm.
take it a little too far. It's
Right,
like, all
right,
right,
right.
calm it down.
Respect
You
the
know what I mean?
boundaries.
But for the most part, like they don't play, and you're not going to get away with nothing with them either. They're going to ask questions, or they're going to tell.
Mhm.
They're going, oh, what you said? What? Hold on, let me go get my mom. Like they don't play at all. I love this new generation because everything that we had to hide growing up, they're like, I'm not hiding nothing.
That
Like
part.
you think you. In fact, not only am I not hiding nothing, let me go on and grab a
And go
screenshot
on social media,
because
right?
yeah, I mean, like again, sometimes they do just a little too much, and that's with growth. They're young still. They're
Right,
you know
right,
what I
right.
mean? But them ones that haven't figured out, baby, go ahead. Cause I'd be like,
They bold, and I love that
yes,
because we weren't able to do that. We was getting
nothing,
hit with something, but
nothing.
the boldness that they have is definitely going to change the different generations after them because they're able to ask questions. They're able to see,
Mm-hmm.
what is why I got to do this. They're able to be their self and, talk about that. And, with maturity, like we
Mm-hmm.
said, with
Yep.
maturity, it will come out, correctly or in a different tone or way. But I love how they're just able to, be their self without, holding things in like we had to,
Right.
and just
Right.
talking amongst our girlfriends. So I
Right.
love that. What are you doing now for yourself and the community? Because you busy girl, you busy. We gonna talk about the well before we get into that. So let's get into the journaling and how are you able to transition into writing poetry?
Okay, so I was journaling a lot, right? And to me it sounded poetic, but I had never heard of poetry outside of like Robert Frost, Edgar Allan
Okay.
Poe, things like that. But then when I was in college, I discovered I don't know if y'all remember this, the HBO Def Poetry Jam. And I was like,
Yes.
oh, what kind
Wow.
of
Yes.
poetry is this? And I was like,
Deep.
yo, they are so expressive. And it
Mm-hmm.
was just, they were telling a story through poetry. And I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, I can do that. I was like, I can do that. Like, I have no problem doing that. And so I started writing and I started like, you start off young, like I'm a rhyme everything, but really you
Uh-huh.
don't have to even rhyme in slam
I
poetry
know.
or free poetry. You just go with it. And then what ended up happening was, Def Poetry became popular. Westchester University had their first slam poetry team. I made the team. We competed against all these different slam poets from across the country. Now they came
Wow.
down and they lit the stage on fire. I ain't gonna lie, like those poets were bad. So they were. I mean, it was so good, bad in a good way. I mean,
Uh-huh.
um, but it was such an experience, and I was like, I'll never stop doing this because it was such a free form of expression. Now I'm not like a lot of slam poets. They memorize their stuff and they be up there. I can't do all that. Like
Not
I'd be
yet.
like
Not yet.
squirrel and I'm gone. But the people that can do it is it's such a beautiful thing to watch. I love the fact that I can read my poetry to the audience and still have that effect with them because they know I'm just being genuinely myself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a freeing experience. Like that is freeing to me.
Mm. So was the event in Westchester, was that your first experience of really like showing your authentic self and your
Girl,
first poem out to the world?
yes, it was my first time ever reading my poetry out to the world outside of just auditioning to be on the team. I was
Uh-huh.
up there with my papers like the entire time. But again, it was one of those experiences that I will never forget as long as I live. Like it was such an amazing experience, and I heard some poetry to this day is still some of the best poetry I've ever heard in my life because they were so expressive and so into what they were doing, and it really sent me on my journey to learn to be more like them. And because I was
Mm.
like, I want to express myself like that. I might not be able to perform it like they can, but I can write. I can
Right.
write like that, and that's where I went with it.
I love that. So now you're in your journey of writing, being your authentic self, loving who you are, and then getting to experience, life on a different side. What are you doing now for yourself in the community?
So I do different poetry workshops. We have open mic night once a month at the Queen's Cafe. I
Let's
did.
go.
I wrote my first book. 2 years ago now, called November 444, limited edition copy. That book is no longer available, but the new book is coming out.
Okay.
So that has a lot to do with just the whole process of life and how you think about love and loving yourself and stuff like that. I do. I try to get involved with everything, even if it's not just poetry wise, just to make an appearance and showcase the art forms, because poetry is a form of art. And it's usually the form that's not considered art. Like when
Yeah.
you say art, people are like, oh, painting or music or anything like that. Poetry is usually the last. So I try to show up and show up for the poets in our community also that are into like visuals and poetry and stuff like that. And then we have Bless the Mic, which I started this past summer,
Okay.
and that was absolutely
Tell us about
incredible.
Bless the Mic. First of all,
Oh
the
my
the
gosh.
title is just dope.
So Bless the Mic. I've been running with this idea to have a poetry competition for a long time, and finally I was like, I'm gonna do it. Like I'm gonna just do it. And so 8 months I took to plan this event, where it was poems or poets that competed against each other for a grand prize. It was first, second, and third prize. First place got a trophy and a cash prize, and everybody else
Okay.
got trophies. And I wanted people from all over to compete. So we had people from New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia,
Let's go.
Washington, Virginia, and then they bought their audience base too. So one of the things that this time around I invested so much into it, because I wanted to showcase Reading as this beautiful place, because contrary to what people might say about Reading, Reading is beautiful. And
Mhm.
like
It
until
has
you've
a
been
lot of
out
talent. Let's get into
talent.
that.
There's so much stuff here. Like there's so much talent here. And people don't see that because they're so stuck in saying like, oh, Reading is just this. But really, if you've never been outside of this city, you don't really know what bad is. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like if you would I've been outside this city. I've been traveling a long time, and this is nothing.
Ain't
This don't
nothing.
even tip the out. It's not even the tip of bad. So I wanted to
Right.
showcase Reading in this the way that I see it. And I can honestly say the people that came from Jersey, the people that came from Washington, from Harrisburg, from Philadelphia, they all said the same thing to me. They were like, your city is beautiful. Like they show so much community outpour and love. And you would never think that coming from here, the way people talk about us, they'd be like, you would think that we're the worst city on the earth, the way they rate
Mhm.
us in the newspapers. um but it showcased us in a different light, and I love that so much. People already asked me about next year's is coming, and it's
Let's
going to be bigger
go.
and better, and we're going to showcase the city even better yet. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's a part of, is building this community, bridging those gaps, having everybody. There was such the one thing that I absolutely loved that I never got to really speak on is the generational gap that was there. I had
Mm.
people there from 80 years old, 90 years old, all the way
What?
down to 15,
I love
that
that.
had an amazing time. And then the pictures say it all, because you see everybody interacting with everybody. And I'm just like, look at my baby. You know what I mean? Like, this is exactly what I wanted it to be. And it was, I'm telling you, like, that was probably the highlight of my life right there. That event was everything to me. And it will continue to be everything to me.
I love that. And I'm coming to the next one. You gotta give me a save the date, but I'm coming to the next one for sure.
Girl,
Let's
girl.
let's manifest for a little bit. Where what is expectations, or where do you see Bless the Mic for the upcoming year?
I want it to be another sold out event. We sold out last year. We had a 98% occupation rate. I was like, occupancy, not occupational, occupancy rate.
Occupation.
Yeah, y'all know what
I
we
know
was
what you mean.
working. We was working. We was
Capacity. Yeah,
working. But girl,
we working
you
too
can tell
much.
I'm a
That's
little
all.
tired. But I wanted to be like that to the point that we can make it like a weekend event as opposed to
Okay.
just a one night event, and we can do it at the different theaters to showcase them too. The WCR is an amazing place to hold events. I would love to showcase the other theaters in Reading also, and other places
Okay.
that we have that. And so what if we, like for the Westchester event, um there was different bouts going on at different locations, and as
Ah,
they won, they met up in one unit. We all met up in one unison location, and we watched the final bout happen. If we could get that going, like on a
that's
Friday, we start
dope.
here on the set. That's what I would love to see, and make it in a giant arts. almost like a festival outside of just the regular arts festival that we have. Like have it, and we have live art and live music, and the streets are decorated and things like that. I would love for something like that to come out of this.
Okay, let's manifest it. We're gonna have
You
some
know,
knockout rounds. Let's manifest it.
let's
That's dope.
go.
That's dope. I believe anything is possible at the end of the day, you know. And I also believe that if that's something that you can dream, God has something bigger. You know, it's
Right.
like that's all you want. That's the mustard seed compared to what we can do. So
Right,
I believe,
right.
you know, if you already got the support, you're already speaking at schools and you're already doing poet classes now, like that's just something small compared to what the future holds for you. So I'm really big on that. I'm super excited for the next Bless the Mic journey. Do you
Yes,
have anything
yes.
else that you're doing or any upcoming besides the seminar, because we'll get into that, but any other things that you got going on in the community?
So we have, so I really like to work with Barrio Alegrías a
Okay.
lot. They have a list of community events that they're always doing on their website and on Facebook and on Instagram. Usually I go to those events. Open mics again at the Queen's Cafe. We
Okay.
use those. Anybody that performs on stage gets a raffle ticket, and they get to raffle off whatever prize we have. Usually it's a coffee maker. So like
Okay.
or whatever little prizes. I have, oh my goodness, girl, you put me on the spot with that one. In fact, hold on. I can show you what my calendar looks like.
Okay. Okay.
Calendar. So my color coded calendar, you can
Yes,
see all
she
the
is
stuff that's
busy.
going on in my life. So we have, I always do secret sauce chicken on Fridays. That's really big in the
Now,
community.
what's
We
that? I haven't heard about that.
So I sell chicken on Fridays at Queen's Cafe,
Okay.
and every once in a while, people are like, "Hey, like, can we barter this?" And so we have like an internal bartering with the chicken in the community. I only take a couple of them because obviously I can't barter all my chicken off,
Right.
but we do that sometimes. Sabrina, the owner of the Queen's Cafe, is really big in the community. She does so many community events. So if you follow Queen's Cafe on Instagram, you'll always see a community events there, and I try to get to as many as those as I can because everything that she does is really, really big.
I
I
love
have
that.
a bunch of poetry opportunities that are going to be happening on
Okay.
YouTube. Um and it's all visuals. You guys can just sign in and see the different poets. In fact, I have one coming up on the 22nd with the champion of Bless the Mic this
Okay.
past summer. Me and her are going to be on the same it's not a podcast, it's a YouTube live performance pretty much.
Oh
And
wow,
she
that's
is
dope.
incredible. So we have that coming up. November, we're gonna have another open mic. So there's a lot.
Okay.
There's a
Okay.
lot.
So
Just
you
if you
busy?
follow me, you'll see it all. I'm
Yes. Yes.
always
Yes. Yes.
busy.
Yes. Make sure you guys follow her. What is your Instagram for those that's listening audio?
The poet Smiley.
Okay.
Spelled just like it sounds.
Okay, okay, okay. So before we get into the last question, first and foremost, thank you so much for being a part of the 6th annual self-love seminar we do have
Absolutely.
coming up. Aries is actually going to be the spoken word throughout the seminar. This is something new that we're doing, so I'm super excited, and I trust her.
Yep,
I
I got
trust
you.
her. She's dope. So I'm super excited about that. For those that aren't aware, we do have the seminar coming up, so be sure to purchase your tickets for that. We have some amazing speakers that's going to be panelists and telling their testimonies. We have a few from Reading, PA, always going to represent Reading. And then we have a few from Coatesville area where I went to school at. So you guys don't want to miss that. That's November 22nd from 1 to 4 on South 6th Street in Reading, PA. There is street parking, just to let you know. And to purchase your tickets, it's going to be at I Love Myself 2025.eventbrite.com. Just to give y'all a little glimpse of the past seminars that we have, I do have a short video that we're going to show in regards to season 3. So check this out.
I reaffirm my dedication to do the work, to unlock live, and rediscover the purpose of what God has given me. I love me. Unapologetically.
To know that God is working. Now I want to show you something on the screen right now that God did for me. July the 5th. Ready? Now, I didn't get to tell you because I was saving some of this. But from 7 years old, so at the age of 20, I started praying for my husband. And I thought,
rejection has been that thing in my life that I've been like, man, it seems like every time I turn around, somebody's telling me no. The word no, always no. And for the longest time, it was that thing that made me just sell back, right? And I'm like, no, all right, look, it's not my time. You know, I wasn't owning what was before.
Search for it in my world around me. I get intimately connected to it. In January of 2023, this will resonate with some people. My word, the prayer that I gave, my word for 2023 is situation, blame that boss, blame that chick who's across the hall, we're blaming people, but it's hiding. We also call it, we get frustrated when we can know the truth and still lie.
So yeah, I am super excited. We do have a panelist that's going to be a little bit different from our past seminars. We're going to do a little bit different this year. We have Butter Pecan Cafe that's going to be cooking for us for lunch. They are actually the winners. So Aries, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I do a chef cook-off competition every year. And yes, so we had 5 or 6 chefs this year, and the winner from the chef competition, they get a trip, they get cash prize and a trophy, and they also move on to the seminar. So it's a spinoff for the seminar. That's how we find the chef. They're going to be the winner from this second annual cooking competition, Butter Pecan Cafe. Shout out to them. She is going to be cooking for the seminar. So I'm super excited. This has been such an amazing journey. And then we have you on the spoken word. So if you guys have not purchased your tickets, be sure to purchase your tickets. Everything is on the website if you want to look into a little bit more about the seminar, uncommonwomen.net. It's an event for all teens, women mostly, but teens is more than welcome to come. It's something that we're going to be able to empower unity and just speak self-love over each other in regards to some guidance of what people went through. So be sure to check that out. Now, Aries, before we leave off, there is one question we ask all of our guest speakers, and that is, what makes you uncommon?
I am literally the definition of get knocked down and get back up. I had to stay silent for so long, and now I walk in my truth and I walk it confidently and proudly. And I am the definition of you cannot even bend or break me. I am going to make it no matter what. And it makes me very uncommon because in situations where people bend or break, I just smile. And that's what I do. So
I love that. Yes. Is there anything that you wanted to say or any closing words that you wanted to say for our viewers or listeners that's out there that's watching us?
listen, don't hide who you are. Be who you are. The best version of you is who you are. Like you don't have to hide it for nobody. You don't have to be anybody else but you. We're gonna love you for you. I love you for you already, and I might not even know you yet. So just be who you are.
Okay. Thank you so much, Aries, for coming on and, sharing your truth, sharing who you are, and doing things for the community, showing people that they can be their authentic self through writing. Be sure to check her out. Again, her IG is The Poet Smiley. She will also be hitting the stage at the Self-Love Seminar. Thank you for our viewers that's listening. Let's check and see if we have any comments or any questions. Hey, Tyrone, thank you for tuning in. No questions for you. So viewers, without further ado, thank you so much for tuning in. And please remember to stay uncommon.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you've been shacking up with us for a while and haven't subscribed to our channel, what are you waiting for? Please like and subscribe to Uncommon Woman so you won't miss another episode. And remember, don't let anything or anyone affect your peace. Good vibes and stay uncommon.